All right, this is you guys' first look into Nerdy Bone Studios. Yeah, you guys have heard us before. You've seen our pictures, but we're finally fucking around with YouTube.
Yes, sir.
So we haven't even hit record on the podcast yet, but yeah, you get to see us doing our thing and talking and yeah.
Yep. So for those who don't know, I mean, we kind of did the first introduction in episode 1 in our podcast that you can find on Podbeam and also Spotify. But this is Keith. He's a legend in this podcast thing. He's been doing it for 5 years, man.
Yeah.
If you guys are not familiar with the OG, go to Nerdy Bones and check him out on YouTube.
Most of the stuff I cover on Nerdy Bones is true crime and history. And I've just been into the podcast game for going on 6 years now.
6 years, yep.
Yeah, I'm no Joe Rogan, but I'm also not nobody.
And then I'm Elijah, of course. If you kind of don't know our background, we met working together at Goodwill, and we just started talking about everything that we love, and it just happened to be everything that you love.
I was like, hey, bro, I do a podcast. And you're like, what?
Yep, and the rest is history, man.
Yeah.
So, and that's what created what we got going on today.
Yeah, so you guys are going to get to watch us record an episode. This is not going to be live because we're just not fucking with YouTube. So eventually we'll do live videos as we record. But basically right now you guys are going to get to see us as we hit the record button. And then go from there. You'll get to see our process and us maybe pause and make fun of each other.
Yeah.
Maybe me go to the bathroom, shit like that.
The behind the scenes.
So whenever you're ready, brother.
All right, you guys. So now we're going to be starting.
Do you want to tell them what we're going to be talking about, or do you just want to get them to get that when you start the
No,
introduction?
they're gonna find out as soon as we start this podcast. So now we're gonna start hitting record on the podcast. Tune in to everybody, and thanks to everybody who's been listening through the podcast and who eventually start listening on here. We appreciate your time, and we love you, man.
Means a lot to us.
Yes, sir. All right, we're gonna
can't stop looking at my own face. I gotta say.
So we're gonna hit record and get into it. All right. Comic Crook family, we are back at it. We're talking about a very hot topic today. Me and Keith been waiting for this day for quite a bit.
Yeah.
And talking about James Gunn, who's pretty much the Kevin Feige of DCU now. There's going to be a DCU now.
Which is so exciting. I'm 40 years old. I've been reading comic books since I was 7. Mm-hmm. You know, we had Superman back in 1978, which came out before I was born. But that's the movie Superman is what got me into reading comic books.
For sure.
So maybe this will be the next step of getting the new generation into comic books. There's everybody that's in the comic book movies, but they probably, I would say 60% have probably never picked up a book.
Yeah.
You know, which is fine. I'm glad that these people are into these characters, but man, there's so much more in the books.
There's so much more content to explore for sure. The craziest part is, so we had watched the James Gunn video he's posted on YouTube through the DC channel, which that alone is let's go. And he said the number one thing that he wants to do is make sure that this is a connected universe. As a DC fan, I'm asking you, how important is that, man?
Well, they haven't done it yet.
Right.
You know, well, it's canonical that the 1989 Batman connects to the 1978 Superman, and that's canonical that those are the same universe.
Right.
But you know, but then we had Christian. No, not. Oh yeah, Christian. We had Christian Bale. We had Val Kilmer. We had George Clooney. None of it was consistent. You know, we had bat nipples. Remember the bat nipples?
Yeah. Unfortunately,
that was pretty horrible. But you know, me growing up in the 80s, I was like, this is the only thing I got. This is all there is. You know, so I'm not going to be all about it. And then fucking technically, the first Tobey Maguire movie is the first MCU movie. It all ties in now because of Spider-Man No Way Home.
So
See, you didn't think about that, did you?
Yes, but no. And the reason why I kind of paused
was
Blade
is.
I was just gonna go there.
Yeah, actually.
So Multiverse of Madness kind of established that pretty much any project that was Marvel established, whether it be MCU, is now canon to MCU.
Right.
So necessarily, Howard the Duck was the first MCU film.
Yeah, so what you made me think of is, okay, so last 3 years, DC's been doing this title called Death Metal. Mm-hmm. You know, and guys, just check that shit out. Deceased is part of all that and everything. Oh, yeah. But they established in the comic books now that in the comic books, any iteration of those characters is canon. Any iteration, like in the comic book says so. Like any iteration of those characters has happened. It's in continuity.
Right.
You know, like Linda Hamilton playing Wonder Woman is in continuity.
Fuck yeah, that's what's up.
You know, so it's awesome that finally the movies are going to kind of like pick up and finally, because, you know, as a DC fan, it's one of my biggest frustrations, you know, like nothing ties to anything. You know, like we had the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix.
Right.
We had Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Right.
We had Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Black Adam.
Well, then we also had Birds of Prey that was supposed to be connected to Suicide Squad.
But it wasn't.
Now Suicide Squad is not connected. So there was like, yeah, I agree exactly what you're saying. There was a lot of disconnect.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that's his goal.
You know, but, you know, like you know, all the listeners out there know that I'm just a DC fanboy. I just love DC. It's just like even when we were talking to John Lehman, and he's all the characters in Marvel are better. I'm just like,
they are.
But I just
because I'm a Marvel fan.
But but it's just a matter of taste and opinion. Yeah. You know, so like, I think it's amazing that we're finally going to get something. I don't want to use Marvel as a ruler, you know, as a yardstick.
Yeah, I want to go.
But you know, they are doing something right when it comes to that.
I will say, to pick a kind of piggyback and kind of like fill in the blanks of what you just said, almost DC is taking the format that's made Marvel so successful.
Yeah.
As far as storytelling and making things connective and making the continuity full around in respect to every project, which I'm all for. I'm all for it.
Right.
And so, but people don't know. I mean, if you've heard me on the podcast, you'll understand that as much as I love Marvel, I do have a lot of love for DC. And I've talked about this 100 times with you. So this is really exciting for me. You know what I mean? I'm so excited to finally see some sort of true, like, successful plan. Someone sat down and said, hey, look, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
For so long, it felt like I'm going to drop 7 different films, and not one of them are going to connect, and you're going to have to like it.
Well, you know, that's like one of my biggest things is like with Joaquin Phoenix Joker. Mm-hmm. I think it's you know, that first movie was groundbreaking. It was
Hell yeah.
Well, it was a movie about mental illness.
Yes.
You know, and I really enjoyed that, and I think it's a huge mistake that they're going to turn the next one into a musical. That's a huge.
I hope that's some sort of joke, and then the play on that would be it's a Joker movie.
Well, it's supposed to come out on April 1st. That's the thing.
Maybe that's the joke. Get it? Joker,
yeah,
joke,
well, April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But I think replacing, you know, okay, like all the continuities or whatever, having Lady Gaga pick up the mantle as Quinn, I just don't know how I feel about that, man. Like, she's age appropriate for Joaquin Phoenix, but I just don't know, man.
So have you ever seen the movie A Star Is Born?
No.
Okay. So it's completely a different movie from the Joker, right? But what I will say is Lady Gaga is so fucking ridiculous.
Well, she's amazing in American Horror Story.
Like, she's so talented, it's crazy. So I think truly it's going to be like, so in my experience, I had a lot of people come up to me, oh, Joaquin Phoenix is going to be trash as Joker. I say he's going to fucking kill it. Which he did, right? Robert Pattinson's going to be trash as Batman. No, he's not. He's going to fucking kill it. And I really loved it.
I would like to see Joaquin Phoenix be Pattinson's Joker.
That's what I really wanted.
That's what I
really wanted. But it's confirmed the Joker for Pattinson's universe, which would
he's an Irish guy.
Yeah,
he's an Irish guy. I forget his name off the top of my head. But
he is in the Eternals. I forget his name. Is Druid in the Eternals? Yeah,
and he also was in. He was also in this amazing movie called The Banshees of Ludan.
Yes, sir.
And dude, it just got nominated for Grammys and shit. For best actor, best screenplay, best
Awesome.
I just got to shout out to my Irish people.
Hey, shout out to the Irish people out there listening, man. That's a W for you guys for sure.
The Joker's gonna be Irish.
That's tight.
Deal with it.
So, and those are labeled as DC's Elseworlds.
Exactly. Which is going to be
which has been established with James Gunn. He's saying it doesn't live in the same universe as his new movies going forward. So Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, Pattinson's Batman, stuff of that nature.
He even said Teen Titans Go.
The Titan series. Yeah,
is that what he was talking about? Okay, yeah.
So the live action Titan series on HBO Max, stuff like that. I love that shit.
Dude,
I'm waiting for the next episode, which is so good. That's going to be Elseworlds, which is nice. Even though it's not connected directly to the main DCU, at least now it has a place.
What's their version of the multiverse?
Yeah. Yeah, and then it comes so Elseworlds and stuff like that. So now we're going to dive into kind of what he's saying. It's called Gods and Monsters. This is
cool title for a run, instead of phase 1,
sure.
phase 2, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and this is not even the half of it, is how he explained it. This is just the ones he wanted to talk about.
Well, it just sucks that his 10-year plan, I'm going to be 50 by the time he's done with his 10-year plan.
Hey, man, I'm all for it. So, we're sitting here still. So, when I discuss these few movies, I will kind of clarify. This still starts off in the DCEU, okay? So the plan starts off with Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I loved Shazam 1. What did you think?
Oh, I loved it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite scenes is when Billy's on the top of the hospital and like his family's in trouble and they're all being held at the carnival grounds. Mm-hmm. And he just like is finally coming to grips with who he is. And he goes running off and jumps off the building.
Shazam! Yeah,
I'm like, yes!
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, because he's a personal favorite of mine. If you go back on the Nerdy Bones channel, I did the history of Captain Marvel, where I covered Marvel's Captain Marvel and Shazam Captain Marvel, and then where they like
it was kind of a respect thing. So
DC was like, you know what,
you guys gotta have
take
Captain Marvel because that makes more sense. Yeah. So again, I'm glad that he brought that up. DC and Marvel are really not in competition, you guys. If you guys know anything, DC and Marvel really are not in competition. And it's not saying one is better than the other. They truly, since its start days, had a lot of respect for one another. It's been the fans who's been against each other.
Because it started as fantasy comics and detective comics.
Yes, sir.
Well, and then before detective comics, it was Wildstorm. Mm-hmm. So that's so we've always had this camaraderie. It's just like you said, it's the fans are like, no, Superman can beat the Hulk. But
and I play into it. I'm not gonna say I'm one to talk. So after Shazam, we're going to go into the Flash. A lot of people's been really excited for this. This is gonna take place in the same universe as the Flashpoint comic, so it's going to pick up after that comic and it's going to kind of take place. So if you guys also watch the animation, this is going to have a lot of that vibes. This is going to reset the whole DCEU into the DCU going forward.
Right, which makes sense.
How hyped.
Which makes sense. It's gonna acknowledge everything that came before that's not continuative.
Right.
And then it's gonna plug everything together.
Right.
We're gonna get,
and then erase it.
We're gonna get Michael Keaton. We're gonna get Ben Affleck.
I need it. I love my Keaton.
So like that's amazing to me. Like, have you seen? I just wish they would release Batgirl. Because they still could.
So I seen like
Brendan
a lot
Fraser is Firefly, man. Brendan Fraser is Firefly.
So the thing is, I seen some online leaks of the Batgirl, and I really wanted to see that last. Have you seen the last uniform?
I have, yeah.
Oh my God, what a fucking sad story.
Yeah.
Fans would have dig that shit. That shit was so tight, and that was gonna feature Michael Keaton as the Batman.
Yep. Well, there was talk for a long time that he was just gonna take over as the DCU's.
Who knows, man? You know what? We're talking
he might.
We're talking like we know for sure the Flash won't feature Batgirl a little bit more. Maybe they take some of those clips from her actual film and add it to the to the Flashpoint movie.
They should.
Since they go into those universes, it's still a possibility to see Batgirl.
Yeah.
Fans, do you guys want to see that? I want to see
it. Yeah. Who would be your favorite live action Batgirl?
You know what?
That's a hard question.
That's tough.
That's hard.
I really enjoy.
Kristen Stewart's one of my, the chick from Twilight.
Yeah.
I would like to see her as Barbara.
As far as like fan casting, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's tough. Man, that is tough. You know what? You're gonna laugh. Brie Larson.
I got no problem with that.
I would have liked Brie Larson as fucking.
She'd be good as Huntress.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm with it. So. Moving forward, so the Flash is going to reset, the DCU into the DCU. First DCU films necessarily are Blue Beetle.
Yes. Oh, they're going to do Aquaman, but then Blue Beetle is going to be the
start.
Yeah.
So, they're saying Aquaman 2. So, I'm being honest, Aquaman 2 sounds very confusing. I'm gonna be
Right,
honest.
so that's why they just need to
because
reset
it's
it.
saying it's DCU, but it might be DCEU.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. But Aquaman 2 and then Blue Beetle. But let's talk about Blue
Jason
Beetle.
Momoa just needs to be Lobo. So
Yeah, let's just kill. Honestly, man, I might have some fans disagree with me. Let's get someone who's blonde hair and Diesel, and let's give Aquaman his comic book accurate look.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, as long as they do it in a way that doesn't look hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you
Why
know,
not?
as much as I love DC, like I still stand by the fact that Aquaman has the same powers as SpongeBob.
God damn. Damn.
But Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle.
Jaime Reyes.
I'm
dude,
so
like,
excited.
So
I watched DC Fandom I think a year or two ago, and they had went over what to expect with this. The directors are Hispanic.
yes.
Everybody involved with the project is Hispanic, and I'm just kind of speaking on this because I'm Hispanic. I am not of the descent that will be represented in this movie, but it's really cool that they are making it as authentic to a Hispanic person, what responsibilities he would feel obligated to take care of, on top of getting this crazy scarab that's like an alien and the powers that comes with it. So.
His dad's gonna be played by George, the stand-up comedian.
George Lopez?
His dad's gonna be played.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So he will be represented as Mexican, and in the comics he's Mexican.
Yeah,
So,
dude. And the screenshots we've seen of the costume, like, dude.
the costume looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And that's without CGI. So imagine with the CGI, I think it's gonna be so tight.
Well, you know the wing,
So tight, man.
like the wings and tentacles and stuff are all gonna be CGI. So.
Oh yeah, but that's all good. So now we're moving on to the DCU. Okay, so I guess Blue Beetle was necessarily DCU, but going forward with the DCU, we're looking at Creature Commandos.
Which I remember that. I remember reading that. It was like it's got the weasel. It's got a lot of the characters like animal based. Which I'm curious why he's deciding to start there, but that's cool because it can lead to Suicide Squad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but you know, like,
would you consider the suicide? You know what? I noticed this is kind of genius. If James Gunn did this on purpose, he's a fucking genius. The newest Suicide Squad isn't necessarily confirmed to be the DCU
yet.
Because, well, hear me out. So in the movie, they say Bloodsport or whatever his name is. Idris Elba plays his character. He's in jail for shooting Superman. They don't specify
that yet
if he was Henry Cavill's Superman. Because Amanda Waller, which we'll get to that too, is confirmed she's the same actress. She will be in DCU. So maybe
I bet it was.
Maybe the Weasel and stuff of that nature is
Peacemaker,
the first actual DCU.
I like it.
And it was produced by who?
James Gunn. Written by James Gunn.
And written by James Gunn. So we're super excited for the Creature Commandos.
Yes. I'm not sure. I can't tell you the lineup from off the top of my head of like the OG comic books. I just remember the Weasel is part of Creature Commandos.
For sure. Weasel's tight.
You know that's played by James Gunn's brother?
Yeah. That shit's so tight. And then we're moving on. So I just mentioned we got the Waller Show, played by Viola Davis.
Yeah.
Who's the same actress who plays her in the DCEU, and also
the Peacemaker crew is going to be in there too.
Yep, Peacemaker cool. Crew, sorry.
Yeah.
So excited. Peacemaker was probably one of the best DC projects out there.
Oh, agreed. Yeah.
I think that's debatable for some people, but in my I loved it.
It's not comic book accurate at all, but
not at all.
But John Cena just makes it so lovable.
You know, the thing
he's
is,
just a douchey Captain America, man.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, at first I wasn't like 100% John Cena, like,
yeah.
And you know, I'm from Massachusetts, and John Cena's from Mass. You know,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's from Boston. I liked him as a wrestler. When I first started seeing his first projects as far as like film goes, I was like, I don't really know. Now I'm like, I fucking love John Cena.
Dude, he's amazing.
Fucking hilarious. And he's like, so there's another movie. This is a little outside the talk of DCU. I'll come back. But there's another movie called Friendcation.
I've seen that. Yes.
It's fucking awesome. And he's hilarious. Yeah. So I'm excited to see those characters that were I
remember back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I wanted to see him play Eddie Brock.
Why not?
Dude, that'd have been dope.
In one of our episodes, I had said I wanted him as Sandman.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. So going back to the DCU side of things, after that we have and I just want to kind of throw that out there. So Crystal Henry, who actually worked on the Watchmen, and then Jeremy Carver, who worked on the
Doom Patrol,
one of my
favorite books ever. And Brendan Fraser, which I mentioned a little while ago, that played Firefly in the unreleased Batgirl movie, plays Robot Man, which is another one of my favorite fucking characters. If you guys aren't familiar with Doom Patrol, pick up any one of the books. They're so great. You know, like they're so out there and just silly.
It's like DC's Misfits. It's like a misfit group of semi-heroes, and they all have some...
Well, there's one of my favorite things is just like how seriously it doesn't take itself. Because in the comic book, there's an actual sentient street named Dave, and they did it in the TV show too. Yeah. It's a sentient street that can put itself anywhere in the world that it wants to be, and it turns out to be a home for all these misfits. So it can be anywhere, and it's just a street that's alive. You know, like all the street signs are like say what it's trying to tell you, and it's in a living street named Dave.
So a lot of those weird concepts in comics, especially you kind of explained, there's a lot of people who don't read comics, and there's plenty who do. Dive into the comics, man. There's some weird but awesome, cool shit.
Well, and Watchmen, like you mentioned a little while ago,
Watchmen as well.
Watchmen, like you got Dr. Manhattan, you got the comedian, you got fucking Rorschach.
Yeah,
dude, Rorschach is one of my favorites, dude. I love Rorschach.
Is it Owlman?
He sure is.
Yeah. So Owlman is in that. So that's one project. So that's the and that will be on. I want to say.
You said it was an HBO series.
HBO. Right? Yep. So then going forward to probably one of the first movies that I'm super super excited about is Superman Legacy.
So
this is gonna be.
Superman holds a special place in my heart. So it just has to be done right. If for them, okay, I'm telling you right now. If they, James Gunn gives the James Gunn treatment, and then opening scene, you get the big blue S, and you get dun 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 dun. dun. I'll fucking start crying, bro.
Right.
I think dun dun dun. That John Williams score.
Yeah.
Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just something.
No.
It's my generation, bro. It's my generation.
I think that one thing we've established with people like Kevin Feige and James Gunn is that they're true fans to what they do, and they read the comics and they read the source material, and they love what they do. They love the characters that they make these stories about. So I think truly he's actually going to be the director of this one, and writer. I don't think he usually does a lot of silly stuff. I don't think he's going to do silly stuff.
You can't do that with Superman.
I don't think that's the direction he's going to go to. I think he's going to go into things that we probably have yet to see on TV.
Well, he's going to be resetting the most influential, most important superheroes ever been created.
One of them for sure.
Well, that's why they're called superheroes. Is Superman. That's where the whole phrase came from. Mm-hmm. So he's one of the most influential of all time.
Spider-Man though.
Superman.
Spider
Man.
Well, anyways, yeah. We're both super happy about the direction so far.
He's got to do it right, and I think he will. But he's got a big cross to bear with that one.
For sure. I think as a fan, as Henry Cavill, I think at least if you give him like a so have you ever seen the Power Ranger movie? Okay, it was kind of stupid, right? The newest one that came out in 2016, 14. Well, there's a really cool scene where
was it Mystic Force?
No, it's literally like a reboot of Power Rangers that they did. It was not that great. Well, the only good part I fucking lost my shit about is in the midst of them saving the city, you actually see.
You're talking about the movie.
Yes, the movie.
Where
you see
Jason David
Pink
Frank,
Ranger, and you see fucking my nigga Green Ranger.
Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson.
Yes,
they're like down in the crowd and like, whoa.
So as long as I can get a kind of a Henry Cavill cameo version in that, I think that'd be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, well,
just at least and then like a kind of like a just like a head nod, like I'm passing on the torch, but I'm not actually Superman here. But we know
to be fair, the only acceptable Superman since Christopher Reeves has been Henry Cavill.
Absolutely.
You know, that's 40 years later, bro.
Yep.
You know, we had Dean Cain. We have Tyler, I forget his name. Tyler, he's on the Superman and Lois. He does a good job, but he's not.
It's not it. Yeah. Henry Cavill definitely embodies Superman. I don't think that they would change him if they had no expectation to double the right
impact.
On the mark.
He's got to be at least 6 foot plus, though, at least.
And I believe that the way that this was told to me is that this movie's going to take place where he's a younger Superman.
Which is fair, you know, because they'll have to touch
legacy,
on, they'll have to touch on Smallville and Lana and all that stuff. Should be.
I'm okay with that because I've told you, we talked about this in the previous podcast. I loved how big Smallville was.
Smallville was amazing.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
Michael Rosenbaum. Yeah. On that note, they need to bring back Michael Rosenbaum as fucking Lex Luthor in the DCU. Not? Just do it.
Why not? They did it in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
You just do it. Just do it.
They did? They did it in Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm down.
Yeah.
All right, so we're moving forward, man. I have been very excited about this project before I even heard it was 100% true. So it's called Lanterns, HBO Max. Right? It's going to be on HBO Max.
The Emerald Knights, man.
So we're getting both the two main.
Yeah, John Edwards and Hal Jordan.
Right.
And that's, as far as most Lantern readers go, those are the two, other than Kyle Rayner. Mm-hmm. But, you know, that's like the most quintessential Lanterns.
For sure.
You know, and then James Gunn was saying that...
sprinkled more.
Yeah, Guy Gardner, Jessica Jade... Like, come on, man.
Yeah, and he said that whatever happens within these HBO Maxes is interconnected, very similar to how Disney Plus's Marvel shows are connected to the main story and antagonizing towards the MCU.
Well, one of the unique things that they're doing is he specifically said the animated stuff is going to start connecting too.
Yes,
Marvel doesn't do that.
So it does ever since Multiverse of Madness. So the What If series is a direct connection to Multiverse of Madness.
I forgot about
because if you've never seen the What If series, you wouldn't understand why Captain Marvel is
Jane Carter.
Yeah. Captain Marvel is actually her friend instead of Brie Larson's character.
Yeah.
And then Captain.
No, I was thinking of Captain.
Yeah. Instead of Captain America, it's Captain
Jane Carter.
Jane Carter.
Yeah.
So, but still, very cool shit. Very cool shit. They said that they will be pretty consistent with the actors that are doing the voices and the actors who will be popping up for the live action stuff. So super cool.
All I know is if he drops the gun on Jason Momoa as Lobo, you know, like Jason. Yeah. Jason Momoa has already been talking about it, and it's like, come on.
It's gonna happen. Yeah. I think that's like so. He was pretty specific that this is not all of Phase 1.
Yeah.
Moving forward to the Authority. So you had mentioned at one point it was Wildstorm.
Yes.
These are Wildstorm characters. So how cool is it to see the OG shit come back?
One of my favorite characters from the Authority is a guy named Midnighter. And he was basically Batman. He's basically essentially... Actually, the better way to put it is he's essentially the Marvel's or the DC version of the Punisher.
Tight.
I'm all with it. That's the best way to put it.
You have me at Punisher.
You know, so like that's. I remember reading Wildstorm books and as the Authority. I forget the character's name, but she's basically liquid metal, kind of like the T-1000. Mm-hmm. You know, they have their version of Wonder Woman. They have their version of Superman, and it's like the Authority. You know, it was a different comic book company, and then DC bought it and just brought them in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I forget their version of Superman, but he's a badass too. You know, but it's an interesting choice to bring in the Authority. That tells me that James Gunn reads comic books.
For sure, that's what I was gonna say because that's OG shit. So like, him bringing back some of like the OG DC before DC
exactly before DC was established. There was Wildstorm, Detective Comics, and actually to start off, I misspoke earlier. Marvel's original name was
Timely Comics. I was going to wait till you corrected yourself. I didn't want to do it, but Timely Comics.
Yeah. I misspoke because it was Amazing Fantasy. It was the first time that Spider-Man appeared.
Correct, yep. Which is a story in itself, which is so awesome. Super cool. We're also going to be moving on to I believe this is an HBO Max show, and it's called Paradise Lost, and it's going to be based off Themyscira, which is the place where
Paradise Island.
Yeah, a Paradise Island, which is where Wonder Woman is mainly from.
What did James Gunn say? Cool. He said it was basically going to be like Game of Thrones, but with superheroes.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You know, that's probably gonna predate Diana.
Sure.
So it's probably gonna start before she's even born, which is fine.
I think by the end of the series, it will push a story forward, which will be whatever threat they face in the whole series will probably return, and that'll be the Justice League going forward's new threat.
Right.
Because I'm assuming, what he's saying is it's all connected. So whatever happens, all this is going to affect the greater DCU.
Right.
So I'm very excited with that project. I'm going to let you talk about this one.
Go ahead. Which one?
No. You say it.
Are you talking about Swamp Thing?
Nope.
Oh, Batman Brave and the Bold. See, dude, that... Okay. All right.
Come on, man.
You know how much I love Batman, bro? It's my favorite thing ever. Well, other than The Expanse, and can't think of anything else that I like more than that.
Batman.
So, Batman Brave and the Bold, which is really interesting. What was the gentleman's name that wrote the original Batman, the Brave and the Bold? Do you have it written there?
It is Grant Morris.
I should have known that. Yeah, Grant Morrison. So, it's kind of interesting that he's choosing to take Damian as his first Robin.
Yeah, I would have went the Dick Grayson way.
Duh.
I would have went the Dick Grayson way, but it's cool.
So this tells you that Batman's not going to be 20-something. He's going to be 30-something, maybe 40-something.
Right, yep.
You know, so if it's going to be Damian, which is interesting. But, you know, I already said who I would like to play Batman, Jensen Ackles. He's my choice for, you know, if Ben Affleck is not going to get to play him anymore, I say Jensen Ackles. But, you know, because I think he's the right age for a character like Damian. He's the right age because if they're going to do the whole Brave and the Bold story, it's an older Batman.
Right, yeah.
You know, so his choice to do a younger Superman and then an older Batman, which kind of makes sense because it's going to come later. But, you know, because, like, if they do Dawn of Justice, which would be amazing, because they could do the Brave and the Bold and then maybe couple years after that do Dawn of Justice.
I think the Justice League isn't going to come on until like phase 2.
If they even do Justice League, because in the books now Justice League doesn't even exist anymore. Because it's the Titans now that are the
main. Right.
Yeah, you know, so that's why I'm kind of confused that it didn't use Dick. You know, and unless the story picks up where he acknowledges that Dick moved on already and moved to Detroit.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and then he's Nightwing. And has done his work as Batman, you know, and has done his work in the Teen Titans. Done his, I think Overwatch is the other group that he was with.
For sure.
Something. I think I could be wrong. Correct me out there, guys. But you know, so that just means that with them coming with the Brave and the Bold, that just means that Dick is already there and older.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so
and that's fine with me. I mean, I feel we deserve a Dick Grayson movie. Why do I feel like that just hit me like a ton of bricks? He's a fucking genius. I think what he did is he purposely didn't go with Dick because he's not going to connect him to Batman. He's going to have his own movie in the first fucking phase.
Nightwing, bro. Nightwing's a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah, me too.
You know, he's just Batman 2.0.
I literally told you, I was like, Nightwing went out training with what Batman's ass, and you're like, I'm sorry, I can't disagree. I wish I could, but I can't. I love Dick Grayson.
I remember saying that. I was like, I wish I could disagree, but no, I can't. You know.
So I think that's a game plan.
Yeah,
that's actually genius.
Yeah,
that's fucking genius.
Well, especially
and then you can feature the Batman from the Batman Brave and the Bold into his movie, have the interaction as pre-existing relationships off of screen.
Right. Because in the books, literally they just disbanded the Justice League, and there's a whole scene where Bruce and Dick, I'm going to use their names formally. Bruce and Dick are standing in front of Martha and Thomas's graves. You know. Batman's parents,
right?
And he's like, we're not holding the torch anymore. Like, this needs to move forward and progress. Dick, you need to take over. I mean, here's the keys to the Watchtower. The Titans are the ones that the world needs to turn to now. And then at the very last scene of the book, he's like, Bruce turns to Dick and says, "I'm proud of you," and Dick throws his arms around Bruce's shoulder and says, "I love you, Dad."
That's tight.
It's like, what?
That's tight. Well, you know, because they had a very they had a very tough relationship.
Technically, legally, he is his father legally.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
you know, the fact that
that man's also an asshole.
He's a jerk. That's part of his personality.
I mean, he is. I mean, that's why. So it's kind of going off topic, but back. It's in between topic. In the Titans show on HBO Max, it's very honest about Batman.
Well,
it doesn't paint him to be this great old because he's also not that great sometimes. He's also a piece of shit.
Well,
he is.
In the Titans TV show, he's a serial killer.
I mean, what is he in any other place?
He's not a killer. Batman's not a killer. But if you watch...
Is he not?
He's not. You know, like Michael Keaton's Batman was a killer. Ben Affleck's Batman was a killer. But canonically in the books, Batman does not kill. That's his number one rule. But if you watch the Titans show, he's a straight serial killer.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why.
Well, he finally crossed the line.
Yeah, exactly.
He finally crossed the line.
Yeah, and that's this whole thing, like, Under the Red Hood is like, it'd be too easy for me to cross that line.
Yep.
And once I cross that line, and there's no going back.
And then it goes back to the Heath Ledger quote, which is
you're one bad day away from being me.
Yeah, he goes, you either die a villain or live long enough to see yourself become you die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
Right.
Very crazy. So going forward, so that's the Batman Brave and Beyond. We're very excited. We're also super excited. So we had mentioned that this whole DCU is going to kind of kick off with Blue Beetle. This, to me, is the peanut butter and jelly situation. Booster Gold, man.
Dude, I love Booster. Yeah. He's such an underrated character.
For sure.
You know, one of my favorite things about Booster Gold is if you read the book.
Zac Efron.
Dude, all about that.
Make him Booster Gold.
Or either him or Nathan Fillion. But one of the big things about Booster Gold in the books is he's saved the day millions of times that just nobody knows about it. Because he manipulates time. Mm-hmm. So he unintentionally makes himself look like a buffoon because he's like constantly saving the day and then
not getting recognition of it because nobody knew it was him.
Yeah, he just reset time and then that thing didn't happen.
Yep.
And his whole thing is I think it's from the 50th century or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And he steals technology and goes back in time to be a hero.
Right.
Which it's all well and good. He still had the right intentions.
So
he's like, I'll never forget one of my favorite episodes of Justice League Unlimited. So it focuses on Booster Gold.
I love Justice League Unlimited.
It focuses on Booster Gold, and Batman's there, and it's those time siphons. I think they call them time siphons. So where like basically everybody dies, and then Booster pulls Batman out of the time stream and brings him to the Gold Cave or whatever he calls it, something to that extent. Something to that extent. Yep. And like Batman's like, I'm fucking impressed, dude. You do this all the time and you don't tell anybody. And then he fixes everything and brings Batman to the point out of time where he took him from, and Batman's got no memory of
what's happened. Right.
And Booster's just like, it is what it is.
Yeah, and the thing that James Gunn had mentioned is that he's going to kind of be a loser in the sense of
that's fine.
In his present time. So keep in mind he's from the future. So in his present time, he would be considered a loser.
Right.
So he's kind of a character who has something to prove. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be really cool to see that happen. We talked about fan casting of Zac Efron and
Nathan Fillion.
So that will be on HBO Max. Again, that is part of the DCU. Moving on to Supergirl. Woman of Tomorrow.
Which is great because that's a play on the Man of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Which is a huge Superman run in the 90s. Mm. And that, correct me if I'm wrong, that's where she lives on a chunked out piece of Krypton, right?
It's pretty much, she lives in post-apocalyptic Krypton. She witnessed everything go down. She lived through it, and Superman was already sent to Earth years ago.
Yeah, so she's technically older.
Yeah,
she's technically older.
Yep. So she wasn't sent before Superman, like depicted in particular comics. This comic's a little bit darker.
He called it specific. James Gunn said it was going to be a space opera.
Yeah, and said jaded. That she will be a more jaded character, a little bit more edgier. I said darkier because I was gonna say dark and edgier. So that's
darkier.
Yeah.
In this world is darkier. That's my movie guy voice.
Yeah, that's the baby of those two words. And then So the last thing, I'm gonna let you take it away, man.
Swamp Thing, bro.
Yes, sir.
That goes so. Any of you guys have listened to any single episode we've done knows that John Constantine is my favorite.
Yeah.
John Constantine made his debut in Swamp Thing.
Yes, sir.
So having Swamp Thing come up, it's going to be darker. It's going to be bring in the supernatural side of things.
I bet you $100. $100.
Keanu Reeves.
That the post-credit scene of that movie is going to be Constantine.
It has to be. It just has to be. It just has to be because like. Even if they don't use Keanu Reeves, I say Matt Ryan,
or whoever they choose for their new DCU.
Yeah,
He's
just got to be Cockney. Cockney is that oi, bro.
Yeah.
Like that. That's as long as he sounds like he's from Manchester.
Yeah, he's from the UK in the comics. So.
Yeah. So like, one of the things I loved in the Constantine TV show, he even says like he's talking about the Elseworlds. He says somewhere out there, there's a version of me that's got black hair and doesn't have an accent.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. He's talking about.
Yeah, so that's, and for Swamp Thing would be so essential because then they could bring in Zatanna, they could bring in Dr. Fate, they could bring in Etrigan the Demon, gone the form of man, bring the demon Etrigan. Come on, man, that was. If they have that in their 10-year plan, they're going to more than catch up with Marvel.
Well, this is what I'll say, right? Is they said that this thing is called Gods and Monsters. They said that this is not all that is on phase 1.
Right.
So I think if we're filling in the blanks here, we're going to get a
do.
lot more monsters, like you were just saying. Etrigan the Demon.
Etrigan the Demon. Zatanna.
More gods.
Rasputin. Come on, dude. Like, just in the Swamp Thing universe, they can get into the green and the red and the blue, which are the forces of the universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, because Swamp Thing he's the avatar, without a better word for it, of the green. Mm-hmm. Like, Swamp Thing can feel and respond to and communicate with every single plant on the planet. Mm-hmm. Which made him a big force in. Have you read Deceased?
Yes.
Yeah. Like he was like
the DC's.
DC's. Yeah, it's basically DC's version of Marvel Zombies, basically. So it basically boils down to Superman has lost his powers, and he's got his right arm is from Darkseid. Mm-hmm. He's got an apocalyptic right arm now, and so more or less zombies are just running over the planet. And then they go to find Swamp Thing to try to restart growth in the green. And then he just, if you guys read Deceased, it's just too much, man. The Flash dies, Superman dies, Batman dies, and then that leads into death metal, where you get the Batman who laughs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar with that, right?
Yes.
Then he becomes the Darkness. He's literally just Bruce Wayne that gets the Joker toxin and just goes in a whole nother direction. He decides to absorb every speedster, Red Death. Yeah, he is. Yep. And then he gets into
familiar.
Yeah, and then he gets into a fight with the creator of the universe. I forget her name in DC, but the imagery is amazing. It's like literally them in the cosmos, like grappling hands and like pushing back and forth. Because he's the darkness now. He's the Dark Knight, the darkness.
Yeah.
And then that's when Wally West sits in the Mobius chair, because all the speedsters of the universe are being chased by the Batman who laughs, because he's trying to take their speed. Yeah. It's just like
it's super dark direction. So that's what we have.
Yeah.
That's what we have for the DCU. And that's not even him announcing. He said that that's not the whole phase 1.
Right.
So
yeah, because he said he has a 10-year plan.
Whoa. I mean, whoa. What do you guys think? I'm so glad that we actually have a connected universe.
Right.
So what is it you guys think? What do you think that you hope to see in the phase 1, phase 2?
And who do you want to see playing your favorite heroes?
Yeah, for sure. Let us know your fan casting. We also have a Facebook that you can let us know things. We'd like to hear from you guys. Message us. We're pretty good at responding.
Yeah. And we're actually at this moment, the YouTube people already know. The YouTube people have already been watching before we hit record. So if you guys go to YouTube Comic Crooks, you can see the actual video of us recording this.
Yeah,
you get to see us sitting in the studio talking to each other. Yeah, so you get to see.
And you'll get more of a feel. So we're gonna get more of a feel of this. This is our first time doing a video and stuff like that. So I mean, as the videos go on, we'll all kind of get more comfortable.
Yeah, more understanding of the technology
for sure. So
because I'm still working on getting our video that we did with John Lehman up here. So I'm gonna figure it out.
Yes,
yeah, so.
Guys, awesome dude.
Yeah, so
happy that we got the interview with him.
And he wants to talk to us on a regular basis. Like,
6 months updates. We
got exclusives.
Awesome guy, for sure. And we might be meeting more people in particular events that's really going to pique some of y'all.
We're getting invites.
Yeah.
So,
for those, you know what? Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right, Comic Crooks.
All right, like we always say, our channel is your channel. Be kind to each other. Take care of each other. We love you.
And we'll see you next time.
DC, Marvel, whatever you guys want to talk about, let us know. We'll see you there.
All right, so we still got the video going. Hey, guys, we're going to cut the video off.
Peace.